All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into two absolute legends of World War II, Germany's MP40 and the Soviet Union's PPSh-41. Now, you might look at them and think, hey, same job, right? But trust me, these things were born from completely opposite ideas about how to win a war.
Yeah, think of it like this. One was a surgeon's scalpel, and the other was a sledgehammer. The story behind that difference, it tells you everything you need to know about how two massive empires planned to take over a continent and exactly what they put in their soldiers' hands to get it done.
So, to really get these weapons, we have to go back. We have to talk about the Eastern Front. Because that's where everything, military strategy, industrial power, and just pure desperate survival, shaped every single piece of these guns, right down to the last screw.
I mean, just try to picture the fighting in a place like Stalingrad. It's brutal, house-to-house, room-to-room combat. Your long, clunky rifle, it's basically useless. What you needed, what they desperately needed, was a weapon that could just spray fire in super tight spaces, city streets, trenches, you name it. And that weapon was the submachine gun.
And right here, this is where you see the two philosophies split. Germany's whole Blitzkrieg strategy was built on having this advanced industrial machine. They needed a slick, finely tuned tool for their pro soldiers, but the Soviet Union, they were in a fight for their very existence. They needed a weapon for a massive army of conscripts, something simple, tough, and something they could crank out by the millions.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're gonna put the specs side by side. And believe me, the numbers here really start to paint a picture.
Right away, you can see two totally different shopping lists, can't you? Just look at the rate of fire, the mag size, and oh man, that production time. You could make a PPSh-41 in less than half the time it took to make an MP40. Think about that. That's a massive advantage when you've got to arm an entire nation like yesterday.
But the biggest, most jaw-dropping difference is this: the sheer amount of lead it could throw down range. The PPSh-41 could fire more than twice as fast as the MP40. We're talking over 20 rounds a second at its peak. No wonder they called it the Burp Gun. It had this sound like tearing canvas. Absolutely terrifying.
And that whole idea of suppressive fire, it's right there in the magazine. That classic 71-round drum on the PPSh meant a Soviet soldier could just keep on firing, long after a German soldier had to duck down and reload his 32-round mag. In a close fight, you can imagine, that's the difference between life and death.
So, you gotta be asking, how did they pull off such a huge difference in performance? It wasn't just about slapping parts together faster. Nope, this came down to two completely different ways of engineering a solution to the exact same problem. How do you tame the violent physics of recoil?
Okay, so both guns use what's called a simple blowback action. Basically, the force of the bullet going out is what cycles the gun. But how they handled that force, that's where it gets interesting. The Germans went for this clever, almost elegant solution for control. The Soviets, they went for brute force, a dead simple, tough-as-nails system designed for one thing: maximum firepower. Check this out. The MP40's secret sauce is this really elegant internal buffer. See, as that heavy bolt flies back, it pushes on these telescoping tubes, compressing the air inside. It's basically a little pneumatic shock absorber. And what that does is smooth everything out, creating that slow, steady, sedate rate of fire. It made the gun super stable, so a good shooter could even pop off single shots.
The PPSh-41, on the other hand, is just all about raw power. It's got a lighter bolt that travels a way shorter distance, and it gets thrown back with insane speed by that hot Tokarev round. And look, the only thing stopping it from just hammering itself into junk is a simple little piece of fiber. It's a trade-off, right? You get an incredible amount of firepower, but man, it was a beast to control.
All right, so we've seen the guts of the machine, but the real question is, what did all this clever engineering, or lack thereof, actually mean for the soldiers whose lives depended on these things?
This quote, and it's actually from the later Korean War, really says it all. In those up-close, absolutely brutal firefights on the Eastern Front, having that overwhelming firepower from the PPSh-41, well, it was often the thing that decided who walked away. When a wall of lead is coming at you, precision kind of goes out the window.
And get this, even the ammo tells the same story. The MP40 used the standard German 9mm pistol round. It was practical, it worked, but the PPSh-41 used the 7.62 Tokarev. Now just look at the shape of that thing. It's not really a pistol round, it's like a tiny rifle round. It's sending a lighter bullet out way faster, meaning it flies flatter and has a much better shot at punching through stuff.
But let's move beyond the specs for a second. What about the guys who had to carry these things day in and day out?
What were they actually like to live with, to clean, and to trust when everything hit the fan?
And this is where that whole idea of a professional's tool versus a conscript's weapon really comes into focus. One was built for efficiency and, dare I say, comfort. The other was built for one thing: to work no matter what.
You know, the MP40 was really loved for its smart, user-friendly design. I mean, check out that folding stock. That was a first for a submachine gun, and it was perfect for the specialized troops using it, like paratroopers jumping out of planes. It was just comfortable, it was stable, it was designed for a trained soldier to use effectively, even under insane pressure.
But, and this is a huge but, all that slick German engineering was pretty much torpedoed by a terrible magazine. This single-feed design was a huge bottleneck for rounds, and it was super sensitive to dirt and grime. In fact, soldiers were specifically trained not to hold it by the magazine because even that could cause it to jam. Talk about a critical flaw at the worst possible time. The PPSh-41, meanwhile, was built like a Soviet tractor. It was simple, it was tough as nails, and you could basically drag it through mud and snow, and it would just keep on shooting. It was so dang reliable and effective that German soldiers on the Eastern Front would drop their own weapons to pick one of these up. That tells you everything you need to know.
But, you know, that simplicity did come with a price. It wasn't exactly a refined piece of equipment. It was heavy, it was awkward to hold, and it had a few, let's call them quirks. That barrel shroud could get hot enough to give you a nasty burn, and it had this fun habit of throwing hot brass straight up in the air, and often right down the back of your shirt. Not ideal, but soldiers just put up with it.
So, okay, after all of that, which one was actually better? The slick, controllable MP40 or the rugged, fire-breathing PPSh-41? Well, as you've probably figured out by now, it's not quite that simple.
The reality is, they were both perfect for the job they were built for. The MP40 was exactly the kind of precision instrument Germany's professional mechanized army needed, and the PPSh-41 was the absolute juggernaut the Soviet Union needed to arm millions of people in a total war for survival.
In this whole comparison, it really leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? One that goes way beyond just guns and tactics. When everything is on the line, what's more important, precision engineering or just rugged, overwhelming simplicity? Which one ultimately wins wars?